Contestant number 2 is Tim Gibson. He will be presenting his speech entitled Embrace the Absurd. Embrace the Absurd, presented by Tim Gibson.
Have you ever had a moment when you encountered something that was so unexpected, so out of the realm of possibility, that you were just dumbfounded with confusion? You just did not know how to react to the situation. It's something just completely out of your realm of expectations. What I want to talk about today is how to embrace these moments. How to embrace the absurd things that happen in our lives. A few years ago, I was in Chicago on a business trip, and in the evening I had an opportunity to go and see some of the town. A colleague of mine invited me to go and see a couple of nightclubs. We're going to bar hop, we're going to hit a couple of jazz clubs. And the last one we were going to, he said, this is a little bit out of the way, but it's really worth it. You're going to like this place. And we're going down this very dark street. It's almost like I've seen out of a movie. So there's all these trucks that are parked and not much street lighting. I'm getting a little worried. This looks kind of like an edgy neighborhood we're going into. And suddenly, my worst fears are realized. Something comes swinging out of the darkness at me. I jump back, and I realize it wasn't an assailant coming out with a club. It was a trunk. An elephant trunk. Attached to an elephant. There was a large elephant sitting in the back of an open truck bed. It was wintertime, had snow on its head. There's no one around except myself and my buddy. This is an absurd moment. So the next day, I'm back in Orlando. Someone's asking how the trip was. I said, oh, it's great. We went to Smith & Wollensky's, had a steak, saw an elephant, went to a couple of jazz clubs. The person said, elephant? Yeah, you know, an African elephant, just on the street. This is an example of how you should embrace the absurd. My wife works at a hospital. And a few years ago, they started this program of recognizing employees that performed something extraordinary for some of their patients. And the recognition of this was to have 100 pink flamingos placed in your yard. Oh. And you're given a card and a gift card. It was a very nice recognition. And there was a theme that went along with this. And of course, my wife was recognized for this event one morning. I go out on Sunday morning to pick up the newspaper, got the robe on. And suddenly I realize I'm surrounded by 100 pink flamingos. My neighbor comes over and says, Tim, what's with the flamingos? And I thought about this for just a moment. I said, you know, I'm going to embrace the absurd here. And I said, they're my private army. And then very conspiratorial, I whispered to him, I'm not sure I can control them much longer. I haven't seen a neighbor in quite a few years. Stay in for a bit. Another time, very recently, in Christmas time, I was out in my yard placing decorations. We do a lot of lights on the exterior of our home. And it was in early December. And we live in a neighborhood very close to the Wekiwa Preserve, and a bear wandered out of the woods, walked into our yard, sat down under a large oak tree, and started to eat acorns. Completely oblivious to everything that I'm doing in the yard, there's this large 400-pound bear sitting in our yard. And I thought, well, this is kind of interesting. You know, don't see that very often. I've seen bears, but you never see them come out in the daylight and just didn't seem to be bothered by the fact that I'm outside, he's there. So I thought, well, I'm just going to leave him alone. I'm going to do what I'm doing, is putting up the Christmas decorations. But as the afternoon goes on, he was there all afternoon. Cars would come by and stop, and inevitably someone would say, you know, the obvious, hey, there's a bear. I said, you know, I'm going to embrace the absurd. I'm going to have a little fun with it. So the first person stops by and says, hey, there's a bear. And I squinted like I couldn't see anything, like I didn't have my glasses in. I know, that's the neighbor's Rottweiler. It's a bear. No, that's a Rottweiler. So the next person that comes by, same scenario, hey, there's a bear. And I looked at it. No, that's our pet bear, Rufus. Your pet bear. Yeah, it's our pet. He stays out. In the daytime, we can take him in the backyard. But he stays out here, he watches everything. He's good. Don't worry about it. Just, don't pet him. He likes to do some privacy when he's eating. So again, think about this concept. Embrace the absurd. This will happen to you in your life. To some point in your life, you will be encounter a situation where you must embrace this. There's no reason to run around with, oh my God, there's a bear, there's a bear. You should calmly realize that this is a situation that you really have no control over, so have some fun with it. Some years ago, my wife and I were taking a vacation to Key West, a town of liberal persuasion, we shall say. We stayed in a hotel down the very southern end of the Key West, and we had requested a room with a view. And we got to the hotel, we were somewhat disappointed. It's kind of this typical motel hotel. The rooms and the corridors all face the parking lot. There's a big glass, and you don't really have, there's no view. There's no pool, there's no beach, there's just a hotel, which is fine. It was fun. But as we checked into the room, we noticed there was a small window on the back side of the room. My wife raised the shades up and says, "Oh, come look at this hotel over here." And we went to the window and looked at this hotel. And this hotel had everything that we didn't have. It had a pool, it had a jacuzzi, it had volleyball, it had a tiki bar, it had a dock for people to pull up, boating Key West style. It had everything our hotel did, plus an additional feature. Everyone was nude. What are you going to do in a situation like this? I'm not going to run and check out the hotel. It is what it is. So that night, we were traveling with several other couples. And we were talking about how the day went, and the topic of the room came up. And we assumed everyone else had a window at the back of the room, such as we did. And we discovered it did not. So we started describing the amenities of the hotel next door. They've got a pool, they have a jacuzzi, they have a bar. And we started convincing everyone at dinner that we were going to go crash the hotel next door. We just omitted one small detail. But we told them, make sure you bring some extra suntan lotion. That a Toastmaster.